Do not adjust your set. Don't beat the screen. Don't adjust your headphones. That's right. You're listening to the Bar Podcast with your boy, Dawain, in the building, baby. Hey, I know it's been a long time, but I'm here. I have an exclusive interview with my good friend, Virgil Walker from G3. We're going to talk about the conference. We're going to catch up. It's going to be a really fun conversation. Also, stick around to the end. I'm going to drop a code, man. It's going to get you 20% off of your registration at G3. And if you're a podcaster, man, you definitely want to listen to this episode. A lot of good things are being said, and there's an extra little nugget in there for you as well at the end. So you got to watch to the end, man. So, hey, let's get into it.
Just different.
Yeah. The Bar Podcast. Biblical reform, let's go. Yeah, welcome to the bar. Come on and pull up a seat and open up your Bible. What a wonderful feast. The living bread, and we're discussing what it means for the streets, the inner cities, and the burbs, and every person we meet. That's where we challenge worldviews that we hear from world news. In light of the scripture, yo, we are here to serve you. We're your source for resources to help you on your way as you battle mean forces. Yo, this is for the people who can see the importance of sound theology and the scripture that support it. Yeah, this is for the truth lovers, biblically reforming, preaching Christ to the nations. Yeah, the nations. Welcome to the modern Reformation. Yeah.
Is up, my people? Yeah, buddy. T. Barlow still brings the house down,
bro. I love that brother, and he just brings fire. I'm like, I want to have a podcast just to have him come rap for the intro.
Listen. You don't know how many people reach out to me just for that. Like, yo, hook me up with Barlow, my man. So listen, y'all. I know. Don't adjust your set. Don't adjust your TV, your YouTube, wherever you're watching, your Facebook. Don't adjust it. I know this notification coming across your podcast is like out of the blue, like where and why and what. We're going to get into all of that, man. But I am super excited to be coming to you guys with my brother. Listen, when I tell y'all, that list is very short for me. This guy is on that list, man. So we have on none other than my brother, Virgil Walker. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, man. Virgil is a very busy guy, and I appreciate him coming on to bless us with his presence. And, man, we're going to get into it, man. So, V, listen, I'm going to let you, most people already know who you are, but just kind of give a little background, man, before we jump into this.
Yeah. Virgil Walker. I am the Vice President of Ministry Relations here at G3 Ministries. Also the one half of the dynamic duo of the Just Thinking podcast with Daryl Harrison. In addition to that, I do a little bit of commentary on Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I do a lot of blog writing, a lot of different spaces and places, from Blexit to Standing for Freedom Center to G3, you name it. So I try to get stuff out there far and wide, and man, it's always a blessing to get a chance to chop it up with the OG, the original person who really put me on the map back in the day, man. You are a big part of the reason why all of the other opportunities that come later actually manifested, just because you saw something early. You helped me get it out there, and man, we go all the way back to the be not deceived days. And so folks don't know nothing about that. They're not up on all of that, but we go back a long way.
Absolutely, man. And speaking of, to keep the nostalgia, brother, we're actually live on the Be Not Deceived page as well. So,
good.
Be Not Deceived folks getting to catch a little glimpse of this, man. But that is like I mentioned, man, my list is short. V is on it. We've known each other forever. Have to always shout out T. Barlow. Of course, he got the rhymes, but he actually also introduced me to Virgil. So that was a major move, just in both of our lives, and just to see, how things are taken off and all of that, man. So, man, V, so I this ain't an interview, brother. Like, this is a conversation, because me and V have some really good conversation. A lot of stuff y'all cannot hear. It is very private. but
there's only so many people I can give the whole enchilada to, the whole behind the scenes to, and you're one of those rare people that I get a chance to do that with. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, brother. Likewise, likewise, for sure. But man, like, so the real thing, man, that I wanted to talk about and just kind of discuss, man, is just, you know, everybody know that I kind of took a hiatus from, the bar podcast, and big shout out to David stepping in, doing his thing, and just life got busy or whatever. And see, my life got busy kind of on, fitness side, my journey, whatever. But life also got busy for you, V. Like, the the things you listed, you listed them very quick, man. But what they don't understand is all that entails, man, especially with the conference that we're going to talk about, man. So, man, just talk to me, V, man. How you feeling? How things going? This is our live therapy session.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, man. No, it's a lot going on. Always, I gravitate to guys like you because of what you do. You're always in the mix. We called you the hardest working man in podcast land for a reason. You're always thinking, forward thinking. You were ahead of the podcast game, especially in the reform world. You were ahead of the curve on that. You got people into the space. You got Daryl and me into the space. You got Just Thinking into the space. You put a lot of people on the map, yet humbly remained kind of behind the scenes. You had the Bar podcast and the Bar network. And so those of us who were movers and shakers knew who you were and knew how you moved. But at the same time, man, you were real humble about it, real quiet about it. Quiet was kept. And you did your thing. That required a lot of work on your part. You were the one doing the editing, the producing, all the stuff behind the scenes. And so I gravitate toward people like that because your thought is, you know what, I've only got so much time on this earth, and I want to make a massive impact for the kingdom and for the glory of God. And so you put yourself in that position, and then to watch you transform, watch your whole program just shift from health and fitness and what that means to you, and you really gravitating to that aspect of your life. Man, it's been absolutely inspirational to watch you grow and transform and change your body and your diet, but all at the same time always maintaining your integrity about the gospel, the beauty of your wife and your kids and your family around you, and maintaining that Christian presence where you are, man. It's always a blessing. But like I said, I gravitate toward people like that. You're one of those people. I try to be one of those people who, wherever I go, I do believe that God's given me a gift of understanding in some different spaces and places, understanding biblical worldview, articulating that in a way that people appreciate and is helpful to them. I connected with Daryl Harrison, who sharpened the sword for me as it relates to study and research and knowing content and having a clear understanding of being able to provide value in these spaces. There are a lot of people who have podcasts, right? Everybody wants to podcast, but
Talk about it.
Once you turn the mic on, you better have some value added benefit, because people aren't going to listen to you for very long if you're just talking off the top of your head and it's not anchored in some truth. One of the things you taught me early on was, with regard to podcasting is content is king. And it's not just random content. It's actually having substance to what you produce. And everybody's given they see the current cultural issue and they have a quote unquote opinion on it. It's a whole nother thing to really do a deep dive and find out the origins of what's happening in the world, find out why we feel the way we do. I'll give you a quick example. Now I'll stop talking and let you ask me a question. But I was thinking about this morning. I've been thinking about it for a long time. How weed has become normative, like smoking pot has become so normative in our culture. And so much so where I was with my wife like one Sunday. We usually go grocery shopping late Sunday, grab all our groceries for the week and do our thing. We're walking around in the grocery store and I'm like, I'm smelling weed smoke. Like the people that are around me smell like they've been smoking pot. And I'm going, this is crazy. So for the week, I started noticing that everywhere we went, whether it was at a gas station or at a restaurant or somewhere, I'm like, it smelled like somebody just lit up. And I'm going, this is crazy. And so I started to put, I've been working on a thread to kind of put for Facebook and for X now. And
Yeah.
I put it together, but I also went and did some research on where this stuff came from and how we got to this normative place, and ended up writing an article for Blexit on the whole issue and how it's dumbed down, not just a generation, a culture, particularly Black culture, and how it's actually we've actually traded what we thought was freedom for sedation. And so wrote up the whole article, sent it off. That we'll see if they publish it. But those are the kinds of nuggets you've got. I mean, you may see something or see a cultural issue and want to comment on it, but it really requires doing some research to find out what's behind it, so that when people actually read it, there's a value add for them. You do this with regard to health. It's not just, hey, I look great, look at me. It's here are the products, here are the nutrients, here's the education you need about caloric intake, about caloric deficit, about protein and the amounts, and all of the aspects of health and nutrition that provide value to someone. So it's more than just a talking head. Hey, my opinion is we should all get slim and trim. Well, that's a good opinion. How do I do that? So it's got to be value add. But that's something you taught me early on, and I carry through with me today.
Yeah, man. No, that I'm telling you, bro, like that is so true in so many levels. And I'm glad you mentioned the deep dive aspect of it, man, because we can scroll social media all day and hear people just rattle off stuff. You got one slide that say, eat eggs every morning. Next slide that say eggs give you cancer. Next slide.
Right.
So it's always something, man, and that's the space I'm in. But even with you guys, man, and that's the thing that I love about the relationship that happened with you and Daryl, because that, that, like you mentioned, he helped you get to that, really dig deep in that next level. And it really shows. And it, speaking of Daryl, I had that chest up, teary-eyed moment a couple of weeks ago when Daryl was in Florida and on stage, man. I was just like, man, like, standing up there where a couple of giants that we look up to, and he was up there putting it down, brother. Like, if you hadn't checked that out, make sure you guys check out the Ligonier conference, man, because Daryl was up there doing his thing, man, for sure.
I was in the room, and it was incredible, Doc. It was incredible to think of where we came from and what we were doing, and I count you in that, because that where Daryl was would not have been possible had you not been there behind the scenes helping us to formulate ideas and put us, help platform us, so to speak, put us out there in the way that you did. And so to see him up there doing his thing at Ligonier, it was just it was a full circle moment. The giants of the faith, the R.C. Sproul's of the world, and the folks that have graced the stage at Ligonier for their conference, just absolutely amazing. Impacted my life, impacted yours. You were, before Daryl and I, you were the guy pointing us to Ligonier. Like you were like, yo, I see where y'all at. Y'all need to come check out this Ligonier stuff, and kind of getting us up to speed on what was going on. And Daryl had his toe in the mix there for quite some time, and for us to be there, and I say us, I was not on the platform, but insofar as Daryl was, I felt like all of us got a chance to share in that moment.
Bro,
so
I was on the platform, brother. I don't know. I was up there, brother. I don't know where you was at, but I was right beside him, like, yeah.
and again, he got his chance, and he sure enough represented, man. He did a fantastic job, just doing what Daryl does, bringing great theology with fantastic cultural commentary, and did a lights out job there, and the moment wasn't too big for him. He rolled right in and opened up the Bible and just really expounded upon the topic that he was given. And I was sitting right kind of center stage, so I got a chance to kind of experience it firsthand. And then when he got off, I wanted him to know, because prior to that, he had been kind of behind the scenes. I wanted him to know that I was there, so I literally kind of raced over to where he was after he got off stage, gave him a big hug. The look on his face said it all. He's glad that folks who've been with him from the beginning and all of that were there. And
Yeah,
that whole
yeah.
thing. So no, it was a proud moment for me to get a chance to experience with him. So no doubt.
Absolutely. So listen, Chris, if you're hearing this episode, I wasn't there because I didn't get an invite. Let's not let that happen again. Y'all had me out there one time, just I need to support Daryl. You want Daryl back? It's a package deal. I'm packaging with all y'all, man. Listen, my guys out there in Phoenix, I was like, man, it's a package deal. Now,
Yeah.
I'm like Eddie Murphy and Martin with Can't Get Right, man. I'm y'all handler, man. I got to be hands on,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, no, that was a surreal moment.
Yeah,
Definitely, one of the many blessings, man, and things that God is brought full circle, man. Daryl was in banking, writing on
Yes.
a blog that a few people, even knew about.
Yep.
And to be there. So man, that's dope. So listen, I'm gonna segue, V. We on that level right now, V.
Right.
I'm about to segue with something killer though. Let me set it up because back when I started the Bar Podcast, I was in my walk-in closet. I had a little what was that microphone, man? A little snowball, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we ain't there no more, V. We
Right.
done upgraded. God has blessed us, man. So let me segue with this right here. Here we go. Let's get it.
You and I have been given a purpose. We have been given a stewardship. We have been called into battle. We have a reason to live. We have a reason to die.
God is sovereign over everything, but he is worthy of praise, not just for the creation of the universe, but for the salvation of your soul.
Faith is not a creative thing, a meritorious thing. It's a receptive thing. Faith is not a creator, it's a beholder. It beholds the righteousness of Christ.
Faith will always move us to action, to a life of obedience, to a life of sacrifice, to a life of service, to a committed life that believes that the God who spoke the world out of nothingness is the same God who has promised you life abundant and life eternal, and his promises are true.
You are welcome to this sovereign Savior who has no to-do list by which you might convert his gift of savability into salvation, but who, by his efficacious atonement, has fully accomplished salvation, a salvation to which you need add nothing.
Our faith in who Christ claims to be is our first business.
Our primary assignment must never be compromised. We are called to faithfully preach the word.
Yeah, man. September. Game on, baby. Yeah. Game on. It's gonna be epic. Let's talk about it, V. Let's get into it, man. I'm gonna be real, brother. You know me. I only know how to be one way. That's real. So hey, just talk about it, man. The theme of the year. What we got going on?
It's going to be amazing. First of all, let me start here, Doc. The fact that my first G3 conference was in 2017, and you and I were there in 2017, and looking around like, wow, this is amazing. And then to be the guy now behind the scenes who helped to put that video together, and knowing all of those people, I mean, that's a surreal situation, a surreal moment.
For sure.
Loving what we're doing. The conference is on the doctrine of faith. And why that's incredibly important in our day and time. It's because the definition of being in the faith and of the faith and fighting for the faith has changed and transformed as we've witnessed kind of the cultural decline, even in the areas that claim to be Christian. People who are open now to the issues of same-sex unions and marriage, and people who are open to the idea of transing kids, and people who are open to the idea that there's a gender spectrum. All of these things have invaded Christian culture. And so I think it's important that we kind of get back to that North Star, that true center, and say, okay, what does it mean to be in the faith? What does it mean to be of faith? What does it mean to defend the faith? What does it mean to proclaim your faith? All of those things need to be re-examined, looked at once again, and really applied to the life of the believer. And so we just feel like that's incredibly important. We're excited about it. As always, the epic way that G3 does, we always have all of the best speakers who participate and are a part. We'll have more than 30 speakers when it's all said and done, and different spaces and places, from plenary sessions to breakouts to you name it. I mean, the best of the best preaching actually takes place at a G3 conference. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And then add to that, the conference behind the conference, right? That's the conference that you and I have a tendency to attend a whole lot more of, the exhibitors booths and the ministries that are represented in those spaces and places, the relationships that are forged as a result, the memories that are made because of that, the business opportunities even as a result of connection that are made, behind the scenes, where you find like-minded entrepreneurs who want to glorify God in their business. And so all kinds of things happen in that space, not to mention, again, the other aspect of that with the we'll have probably anywhere between 10 to 15 different publishers from different organizations, different publishing companies that'll be a part of the conference. We will vet, our team will vet more than 6,000 to 7,000 titles, man. And we get some of the best discounts for that. So if you're looking to build your library, this will be a great place to come. You won't find better discounts for that. Not to mention, you don't have to worry about saving room in your suitcase. We'll ship it back for you. And so we got every amenity. And then I'm trying to add real cool bennies. You remember the last time you were here in 2023, we had a shoe shine guy. He was doing his thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll bring him back. There'll be a lot of other little nice, fun amenities that are part of the experience once you get there. And a lot of people are trying to figure out, do I go? Do I not? I'll just watch it on YouTube or what have you. And there's nothing like being in the space and place, because it's going to be a really special time. You want to be in that place when things go down. But we'll speakers like Josh Bice, we'll have James White, Paul Washer, we'll have HB Charles is going to be joining us. I'm excited to hear him again, and James Coates, Phil Johnson. I mean, on and on. Mike Riccardi, Hensworth Jonas, Joel Beakey. You name somebody that's a part of a reformed world and evangelicalism who has a massive voice, and you're going to run into our folks. Justin Peters will be joining us. Stephen Nichols, Mike Staten, of course, Scott Aniel, myself, Daryl will be there as well. And so it'll be a power-packed opportunity to get to meet and greet a lot of great folks you want to be a part.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna be that guy. Where's Vody, man? I'm gonna be that guy.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna be that guy, man, because I've got asked that question because you my boy. They're like, "What's up?" I was like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna be that guy." You can be that guy. How about that? I know I can.
Great question. No, I've been trying to reach out to Vody and connect, and we learned early on that there's a couple things going on with him. One, he had the transition back from Africa to the United States, but in addition to that, he had a trip that he had planned to Israel that, because of all of what's gone on over there, he had to postpone a couple of times in a row. And as a result of that, he has a backlog of people who are planned for that trip. And so rather than trying to traipse across the country, get to here, do G3, get to there, then travel across the globe to Israel, he's really trying to take care of himself, his health, and really do what he needs to do for his family. And so he's unable to join us this year. But at the same time, we've had this message from Vody before, where he was going to be out of the country or couldn't make it, and then last minute, who knows?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count that out. I just know from a standpoint of what's official, he won't be with us. But again, I wouldn't. If you're thinking, I'm gonna hold off on buying a ticket because Vody's not there. Well, first of all, foolish on you. Don't be that. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
No, don't be that guy. But because you never know, the providence of God, what might happen.
Absolutely.
Plus, you'd be missing so many other amazing
For
and
sure.
good things. So no doubt about it.
For sure. So I'm gonna go on the record, man, and say if you are a listener and you are a podcaster and you are watching this, this is the conference you want to attend. Like I can honestly say the G3 conference is what propelled the Bar podcast and the Bar Podcast Network. Like Virgil mentioned when we went there, I literally had a game plan. Like I was like, we're gonna all wear the same shirt,
Yep.
and people started asking questions, and and it brought the momentum, man. And it literally like that. I can truly say that experience kind of took us, kind of propelled us to the next level. So if you are a podcaster, you want to be there. You want to be there. And then if you got the coins, you want to get a booth. Because let me tell you, when you got a booth, you got a booth and a microphone, you literally the speakers are walking by. I like I grabbed so many interviews with people, at the conference. I had people in my network record live shows. Like it is the best experience for a podcaster. Like you literally could be booth next to somebody that could be a great guest for your podcast.
Yeah.
Like you literally can network in that way. I know it's taboo, but at the time I actually got Dr. Lawson at the G3 conference. Like it was seeing him in the corner and said, hey, and he thought I was trying to get him to preach at my church. I was like, I ain't got no church. I just need you for 30 minutes on the telephone. But anyway, I know it's taboo because y'all know I don't care. So it's whatever. Anyway, this is the bar. This ain't official. This ain't official G3. This is Dawain. Y'all come at me. Holler at me.
Oh, good.
You know where I live.
No, I'm
but
gonna
yeah.
tell you something. That's what you're saying is really smart. One of the things that you did incredibly well. One, you had a number of different podcasters, but because of the Bar Network, and then as a result, I mean, we tried to do you're solid in that, connecting as many of those podcasters in that lane so that everybody could eat. And so that was kind of your MO. It was brilliant to have all of us wear, Bar Network. You got with everybody. Hey, y'all, on Friday we all gonna wear the same shirt, and then and everybody look around, and it was brilliant. It really was smart to do. And again, you were ahead of the curve. Like podcasting exploded in 2020. Like, I mean, just exploded but you had been, by that time, you'd been doing it for 6 years, prior to that time. And so you were way ahead of the game, took full advantage of the curve. And as a result, still here to tell the story, launching others out and doing your thing. But you're right. I actually have a quote unquote podcast row. Where I put all of the podcasters on the same row. When the speakers or anybody walks down, they're able to just really go from one spot to the next spot to the next spot to the next spot. And so that ends up working. The other thing, man, that you did well was you didn't just look for the speakers. You actually looked for influencers who were a part of the event, and you had them over, and all of those kinds of things were helpful to grow the channel. In fact, there were people you knew, again, that weren't yet on the radar screen of some folks, but were about to be, and so you got them early. So it was just wait. You just got to be smart.
Yeah, no, listen, man, I learned that early on. One of the very first interviews I had was with Paul, the guy that started Righteous Wretch. And so, because we both came out of the charismatic world, and so charismatic world is you look for the name, the title, the whatever. And so I asked Paul a question. I was like, man, who's your favorite preacher? Still in my charismatic, he was like, my local pastor, like my pastor, like that's who I like. And I was like, you know what? I need to change my mindset. I'm still holding on to this old mindset. And so that opened up the whole local pastor thing. And then, when you go into the local pastor aspect, then you look like there's all these awesome lay people, because I feel I'm one of them. Like I'm a lay person. I don't, so, and you find out all these people doing things that don't necessarily get the platform, don't get you on the ticket, but it's doing something for the gospel, man. It's expanding this kingdom, it's doing all those things. And you start finding those folks. And because bro, like you've been tooting my horn enough. I would not do it myself, but there's so many people that I was able to identify and then just watch them just, you know, just take off. They find their moment, you know, and I actually reached out to Dixon, the guy that started Art of Homage, the Art of Homage, I reached out to him last week because I interviewed him when he was selling clothes out of his house. Like that's like he got a warehouse, he's multi-million-dollar, you know, NBA players wearing his stuff. I interviewed that dude when he's selling clothes out of his house. He had
And they don't forget that. They don't forget the people who knew them from way back when, you know, who knew them before they were on the radar screen, and they're always grateful because you gave them an opportunity early. And so it's you know, you've always been one of those guys who've treated everybody the same regardless of the station of life. And so, you know, that's something that's really, I know everybody's kind of chasing the big name, you know, hey, I got to get Justin Peters on my podcast. I got to get this person on my podcast. And you went the opposite direction and said, okay, let me find these local pastors and identify what we can talk about and focus on them and amplify them. And then when they do their thing, you know, you're able to say, hey, yeah, I knew back when what this cat was about. And those relationships sustain. They really do.
Facts. Yeah, no, 100%. Speaking of relationships, you mentioned this, talking about the experience, man. The networking is great. I love it. I took full advantage of it. But there's a thing about G3, man, that I said since day one. I was like, G3 is a family conference. Like, is one of the few. You know, we know Shepherds is for men, it's for leadership. You know, we know Ligonier. I mean, it's Ligonier, man. It's I love them. They know I love them. And it's funny that they love me because I am not a white t-shirt, you know, I'm not a white collared shirt and both and tie guy, but they still love me. But G3 is super family oriented. There's people like bring your kids, you know, bring your small kid. They even got a little small play area in the back. Like you guys really are intentional with that. And I know that was always a part of Josh's vision, man. So talk about that aspect a little bit, because I know a lot of people see I mean, that video is dope. Like a lot of people see that video floating around, you know, like, you know, but there's an aspect that doesn't get published or doesn't get posted about. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great point. In fact, I'm still working with some of our guys behind the scenes to amplify those aspects, the family atmosphere. A lot of folks say, hey, you know, the conference out on the West Coast with MacArthur, that's ShepCon, that's for shepherds, that's for pastors. People have in the past referred to G3 as SheepCon, actually for the sheep.
I like that actually.
for families, and so because there's so many, and you know, when I think about the average, you know, age and demographic of the person who's coming to our conference, they're usually somewhere in their mid-30s. Their families, they're young families, and as a result, we intentionally have spaces where kids can play and roam, where they're protected. You know, they've got little areas so that they, you know, that it's enclosed so that moms and dads can put them in a kind of a play area, and they're still in the big main session hall where they can watch and listen. And so in that regard, we've got that kind of family friendly dynamic going on. This year, in fact, we are working on having some very intentional kind of teaching spaces for kids that they'll be able to go and participate in and learn from. And I don't want to give too much away, but we are partnering with the folks at Answers in Genesis, and they're coming out to help put some things together for us. We'll be pushing that content out here in a bit, but a lot of great things that we're even being more intentional, targeting young children and families to participate in ways that they couldn't at any other conference.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. Like I said, what you have in place already is good, and just knowing how you work, I know it's just going to get better, man. So definitely bring the kids, don't leave them home. But if you need to leave them home, if you want to come and just, you know, and do it for yourself, do that as well. But it is definitely kid friendly, man. So V, here's my shameless plug right now. So if you use this code,
there you go,
G3 bar. G3 BAR, you will get, what's my percentage? I think it's
20%.
20% off your registration. You use this code, and there you go. That's my gift to you, popping up with this random podcast. What you about to say, V?
I'm gonna tell them too. I'm gonna throw that on for exhibitors. If if a podcaster wants to jump on, there's already a discounted podcast amount for podcasters. I'll add the G3 bar, the 20% discount to that already discounted price for podcasters, man, if they want to join us, because we love them, we want to have them,
Yeah.
we want them to be a part. So
no, absolutely, man. I appreciate you doing that. So you guys take advantage of that. If you know somebody, send them the message. Podcasters use that G3 bar, get your discount. You know, and it's funny, man. I love that, and I guess it's just full circle that podcasts are getting so valued now. You know, because even if you look at the campaign trail that we just experienced, like podcasts, what is like the driving force, man, and that. I just love to see that, man, because 2014, 2012, I was like, podcast. He was like, what is that? Like, what is that?
Yep.
Oh, hey,
yeah,
so
you saw it ahead of the game, and then you add to. I think you're spot on. I think the value of the podcast world was definitely exposed, and in the last 2 or 3 years, when you see Tucker get fired from mainstream media, you see him create a podcast and go on to X as a platform, and it has a larger audience by far than all of the legacy media combined. You see Joe Rogan doing what Daryl and I did in long form podcasting, right? He's like, hey, it shouldn't be any more than 20 minutes, and here we were doing 3-hour podcasts, and so now there's an audience for that, and so all of those things come into play. You see the value of it. It's 2020 with COVID was a big deal, and then even moving forward, here we are 5 years later. It actually impacted a presidential election. That's kind of how far things have gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I tell people all the time, because I consult podcasters and I coach podcasters, and I used to be like, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I say, but I have to tell you this. My most popular and most successful podcast is about 3 hours. They'd be like, what? Like, yeah, no, that and like you mentioned, that long form, like Joe Rogan. I mean, we were doing it. Like we did it. And I scratched my head when Daryl was like, hey, I was like, all right, hey, listen. I know my space. I know I'm good at my lane.
Yeah.
And I know how to, let other people drive when they need to, but it definitely proved to be successful. So, and speaking of, I mean, you guys even have a podcast at G3, man. You guys even do y'all thing, man. I just love to see it just spread out so much, man. So, V, I'm gonna get ready to land this plane, brother. But before I do, I want to personally again thank you for coming on, man, and thank the listeners. I know you guys. I sparingly drop content, but this was super fun. Definitely something that was. I'm gonna go back old school. Something that was laid on my heart, V, that I wanted. The unction, but no, I really wanted to, talk to my brother, as well as put out this conference that's coming, man. And it's time to sign up. And it's time to get things moving, man. And so I don't want you to wait to the last minute. I want you to get it done. I want you to jump in and get registered. I'm gonna be there. Via be there. All those people he mentioned. I'm gonna be at the booth. It's going down, man. It's going to be one of those experiences that we always have, and I'm just super excited super excited and proud to be a part of it, man. So V, give me some closing words, brother. Announcements, anything, drop it right.
No, yeah, glad to be on, man. Definitely appreciate the opportunity. Have everybody go to g3min.org /faith, g3min.org /faith. If you do that, you'll be right on the conference page. Definitely use G3BAR for your 20% discount, and we'd love to have you be a part of that. Definitely want to see you in the space and place. Always an honor to be with you, man. Anytime you call, I'm coming. So that's kind of how that works.
Hey, that's true, man. That's true. And that has always reigned true. And I do appreciate it, man. So, all right, y'all, we are out of here, man. Love y'all. Till next time. Peace.